Your perception of this divorce as a personal failure or a negotiation of grievances is a critical error. This is not about feelings. This is an economic war, and your former partner operates under a primal, biological imperative for maximum resource extraction. The legal system, in this context, is an institutionalized mechanism for resource redistribution. It is structured, by design, to favor the long-term biological imperative of the female, securing stability and provisioning for offspring. Your concept of fairness is a subjective construct and holds no weight in this arena. The law operates on precedent, on documented facts, and on the cold calculus of asset transfer. Your emotional narrative, your sense of injustice, your personal betrayal, these are irrelevant data points. They will not sway the outcome. This process is not about justice. It is about the reestablishment of control over diminished assets. Understand this inherent biological script. Recognize the nature of this economic battlefield, or you will be outmaneuvered, leaving yourself vulnerable to further resource drain. Self-pity is for the weak. Control is for the architect. The emotional tempest has served its purpose, to disorient, to drain your reserves. Now, you pivot. The legal battlefield demands a different kind of engagement. Here, sentiment is a critical vulnerability. Your former partner, their counsel, the system itself, they are not interested in your feelings. They are engaged in a zero-sum game of resource allocation. To survive this phase, you must understand the calculus of control. Your primary weapon in this arena is data. Every financial transaction, every digital communication, every physical asset record, these are not merely documents. They are intelligence packets. This is your personal intelligence operation. You are collecting, cataloging, and analyzing. Every email, every text message, every bank statement, every property deed, every calendar entry detailing access to your children, every communication log with your ex-partner, every appraisal of shared assets. All must be meticulously documented, time-stamped, and secured. Think of it as mapping the entire operational landscape. Why this obsession with data? Because it provides leverage. It exposes patterns. It uncovers hidden liabilities or assets. It strips away narrative and reveals the verifiable truth. When facing allegations or claims, you don't respond with indignation. You respond with an immutable timeline, with bank records, with logged communications. This is how you reclaim the narrative, by replacing emotional speculation with irrefutable facts. Your lawyer is not your therapist. Understand this fundamental distinction. They are a mercenary, an instrument in your strategic execution. You equip them with ammunition, the cold, hard data you have painstakingly assembled. Their objective is to execute your strategy, to navigate the legal code on your behalf, not to validate your pain or console your ego. Present them with facts, not feelings. Demand solutions, not sympathy. This distinction is paramount to preventing further resource drain. The script you are now operating within is not about justice in the emotional sense. It is about legal precedents, about verifiable evidence, about the allocation of resources and responsibilities. By shifting from emotional reaction to data-driven control, you reclaim agency. You prevent the emotional noise from clouding your judgment and dictating your moves. Your emotional sovereignty is non-negotiable. Maintain it to prevent adversaries from exploiting your internal landscape. This is how you begin to dominate the situation, not merely survive it. Self-pity is for the weak. Control is for the architect. The initial phase of any strategic withdrawal is not retreat, it is fortification. Your first objective is the absolute defense of your financial perimeter. This demands a cold, clinical assessment of every asset you possess and every liability you carry. Understand this matrix. The legal system is not designed for equitable emotional closure. It is a mechanism for asset redistribution based on codified rules. Your failure to comprehend these protocols will guarantee a significant resource drain. You must immediately differentiate between marital property and separate property. Marital property constitutes the shared resource pool, subject to division. Separate property, typically acquired before the union or through inheritance and meticulously kept distinct, is your primary target for defense. The distinction is critical. Your objective is to maximize what is legally classified as separate and aggressively minimize the common pot through irrefutable documentation. Every receipt, every bank statement, every deed from prior to the union serves as a bulletproof vest for your assets. Initiate an exhaustive audit of every financial account. This includes checking, savings, investment portfolios, retirement funds, and any lesser-known accounts that may have been overlooked. Simultaneously, identify all liabilities: mortgages, personal loans, credit card debt, and any other outstanding obligations. A comprehensive, verified snapshot of your financial landscape is not optional. It is foundational intelligence. This data forms your strategic battle map, revealing both your strengths and vulnerabilities. Anticipate the predatory mechanisms of the opposing party. Any attempt to obfuscate assets, misrepresent income, or obscure asset transfers is a direct and calculated strike at your future solvency. This is not a personal slight. It is a predictable maneuver within the larger script of resource acquisition. Their objective is to artificially inflate the marital pot and claim a larger share directly at your expense. Do you believe sentiment will prevent this tactical aggression? Logic dictates otherwise. Your emotional sovereignty has no standing in this arena. To counteract this, forensic accounting is not an expense. It is a tactical investment. It is the specialized reconnaissance necessary to uncover every hidden revenue stream, every undisclosed investment, every illicit asset transfer. This expertise drills down into the raw financial data, revealing discrepancies and tracing the movement of capital that would otherwise remain invisible. It identifies the true scale of the resource pool and exposes all attempts at deliberate manipulation. Do not mistake this for vengeance. It is a preemptive strike against catastrophic financial hemorrhaging. The data does not lie. Only people do. Your focus must remain absolute: documentation, verification, and proactive defense. The integrity of your financial perimeter dictates your capacity for future resource generation and your ultimate control. This is about strategic advantage, not emotional capitulation. The emotional pull of your offspring is a primary biological directive, hardwired. But understand this: child access is not an emotional plea. It is a strategic resource, a fundamental component of your long-term influence and the child's access to your distinct genetic and acquired resources. Your child possesses a biological imperative for access to both parents' stability, guidance, and material provisions. The court, stripped of sentiment, evaluates utility, not your emotional narrative. You must demonstrate irrefutable capacity. This means a stable, predictable living environment is non-negotiable. Your direct financial contribution, your consistent time investment, your active involvement in their education and health, these are data points. They prove your operational fitness as a parent, your tangible value as a provider of a secure ecosystem. Any deviation from rational, composed behavior, any action that can be spun as instability or a threat to the child's well-being will be weaponized against you. Your perceived emotional state becomes a vulnerability, directly impacting your leverage and control over access. This is not about your feelings. It is about your measured, consistent provision of a secure and functional environment. Simultaneously, you must project your post-divorce financial trajectory with surgical precision. Every concession made in this phase, whether regarding child support calculations or asset division, has a compounding effect. It directly impacts your capacity for resource generation for decades. This is not a short-term negotiation. It is the calibration of a multi-decade financial model. Are you optimizing for immediate emotional relief or for long-term solvency and the ability to reclaim control over your future resource streams? Negotiate with the long game in mind. Understand that every percentage point of income or asset relinquished today represents a permanent reduction in your future economic power. This impacts not just your lifestyle, but your ability to provide for your children effectively in the long run, and your own path to financial sovereignty. Self-pity is for the weak. Control is for the architect. You are not seeking moral victory in a courtroom. That is a fantasy for the uninitiated, a trap for the emotionally compromised. The legal system is a blunt instrument designed for the extraction and redistribution of resources. It operates on precedent and procedure, not on your sense of betrayal or injustice. Your ex-partner will attempt to weaponize your emotions, to provoke irrational responses that serve their agenda. This is psychological warfare, a biological competition for scarce resources. Understand that. Your objective is singular: maximum retention of your resources. This means securing your post-divorce financial sovereignty. Every document, every negotiation, every court appearance is a calculated move on a chessboard. Your future depends on the precision of these moves. Do not react to the noise. Do not engage with the drama. Your focus must remain on the preservation of your capital, your assets, and your access to your children. This requires a level of discipline few possess. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are an architect of your next phase. You will wield this system as a tool, devoid of emotional interference. Your capacity to engineer a new reality begins now. Stop reacting. Start engineering.